Don't forget to like and share this broadcast with your friends and family on Facebook Live as well as on YouTube. Let all of your friends and family know to subscribe so that you know when the Center of Hope is going live.
God bless you and welcome to the Center of Hope International. And I'm your host today, Bishop Mitchell G. Taylor. I'm so glad that you decided to join us at Live at 5. And I am here to let you know that you're in for a special treat. God has been good to us. We had an exciting day today at the Center of Hope International. And might I add, you may not belong to the Center of Hope International yet, but the Center of Hope International belongs to you. Well, I'm excited. This morning was a fabulous service. We had two great services, actually three great services today. And God was in each and every one of them, 7, 9, and 11. And I thank God that I was able to, with the advent of technology, to be in all three services, virtually, and two of them in person. I'm broadcasting live from South Florida. A tremendous time today we had at the Revival Faith Center at the 7 a.m. service and the 11 service. And my celebration and praises go out to the Revival Faith Center Ministries, a ministry of tremendous excellence. We had a tremendous time. And those of you that were there with us in South Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, you were there to witness it. So we had a great time. I want to bring on my co-host, the Honorable Brother Elder Hassan Clark. Pastor.
Peace, grace and peace, Bishop.
How's everything, man?
Listen, we cold up here in the Northeast. It's freezing cold today, and you look relaxed, Bishop.
Let me tell you something. Listen, it's great to look out the window and see the beach and the sand and all that kind of stuff. And but greater than that, we had a tremendous service this morning at 7, and then another service at 11. And at 7 o'clock, it was a little. The Spirit of the Lord was just so heavy, that I just started out just kind of ministering to the people, and then finally I kind of backed into the word on this morning, and it just was a tremendous. I dealt with Psalms 133. Behold, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And you've heard me describe this soliloquy many times, and so I dealt with that, and I said it's there that God commands the blessing and life forevermore. The interesting thing about that, Pastor, if you look at the first verse of Psalm 133:1, there's an exclamation point. Behold, how good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
Yeah.
There's an explanation point. And if you look in the scripture, anytime you see an explanation point, and it's not often, it means that this needs to be amplified. And so it's interesting to me how the quintessential thing that will command the blessing and give us eternal life are the very thing that we don't do. We are so disunified. And I mean, listen, if you knew that unification, coming together, being one with your brothers and with your sisters, if you knew that that is where God commanded the blessing, that's where the blessing is, in our unity and eternal life, how could I not adapt to that order if the blessing is there and eternal life is there?
Wow.
And so we dealt with that. And then in the 11 o'clock, we dealt with the famine is over. The famine is over. 2 Kings 7 And you, of course, you guys have heard it first because you guys get the exclusive before I take it on the road. But the famine is over. 2 Kings chapter number 7. The head of a donkey was selling for 75 shekels, and a pint of dove doo-doo was selling for 5 shekels. Women were boiling their children and eating their children one day and then eating the other child the next day. I mean, it just shows the magnitude of starvation. We were at the height of inflation back then. There was a famine because the Syrians had shut up the gates. And but while that was happening, the prophet gave a word. He said, tomorrow about this time. Now see, it's hard to see tomorrow when you're in such devastation today. I mean, the battle. I mean, it's hard to see beyond your battle. It's hard to see beyond your struggle. And when you hear a prophetic word, listen, they were at the height of inflation. They were so desperate. The donkey was on the unclean animal list for the Jews. And the donkey's head is the most inedible piece on the animal. And that was selling for 75 shekels. And the prophet says, tomorrow about this same time, God from Zion, he said, a barley will sell for 2 shekels and flour will sell for 2 shekels. It's unbelievable. And the hand of the king said, the hand of the king, if you watch Game of Thrones, the hand of the king, that's the chief operating officer. That's his right-hand man. The hand of the king said, well, I guess God is going to open up windows in heaven too, to be blasphemous and doubting. You got to be careful when the Lord speaks a word that you don't doubt it. Don't doubt his word. The prophet used his blasphemous remarks to decree that he would see the blessing, but not partake in it. Anyway, the famine is over. So we had a tremendous time today, and it was unreal in both services, Pastor.
Bishop, we really, during the communion fellowship, we talked about 2 key things that happened just in the last 2 days. The first thing was on Friday night, we did have a men's Zoom that definitely was encouraging. You were on with us, Bishop, and, we had about 20 guys, and just so when you were talking about that scripture in Psalms 133 about, coming together in that spirit of unity, just to see some of the brethren that we were on with, that we hadn't seen some of them in a number, at least some of them I have not seen in maybe a year, maybe even 2 years because of the pandemic. So just coming back and being on that Zoom for about an hour and a half, definitely encouraged me, hearing you give, some knowledge and some wisdom to us. And then knowing that we'll come back on the 18th. Now, don't get jealous, Kohai women and those that are watching us on Facebook. But it's for the men. It's for the men. So, reach out to the men, Elder Tyrone and Deacon Len, Pastor Dave Thomason. And so it'll be the men's Zoom. So we talked about that, Bishop. And then I would be remiss if I didn't talk about in the morning service this morning, our Black History tribute. What a phenomenal blessing to see the young people. My guy Jace showed out singing Sam Cooke. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'm ecstatic to see how God is blessing all of our young people. And so we were just sharing. So I'm sharing with our Facebook family. If you're looking for a ministry, if you're looking for a church, even from a virtual standpoint, and you want your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews to be involved, please reach out to our website or our Gmail and let us know that you want your young people to be involved in dance ministry, in singing, in the different activities. If you're a woman, we have a trip coming up that's for the whole family. We sent some emails out. We're going to see the play of David. So there's so many things going on in the Kohai universe to the Kohai nation. So we just kind of recap some of those things, Bishop, and how much of a blessing it is during this season when folks are dispersing, we're coming together as one. So when you talked about that unity piece that you shared out in Florida, it's just encouraging to me, Bishop.
Wow. Well, listen, I was encouraged to be with the men on Friday. It was a tremendous blessing just to see so many men, just gathered together, hungry and thirsty. And I was blessed of the Lord. Listen, hit that share button and tag as many people as you can in your ecosystem. Pastor, we've got one of the, I would say, that words can't explain the magnanimity of this legislator that I'm about to introduce on today. She has been a voice crying in the proverbial wilderness for over 3 decades. She is a fighter. She's tenacious. I don't know. I think her record is 99-0. Wow. Never lost a fight. And I am just so excited, Pastor, to have her come on today. So I'm going to talk to you in a little while. But
no problem, Bishop.
Let me welcome my dear friend. I think, listen, one of my closest friends, and she has served in the state assembly for over 30 years. Her dad, her family grew up in Queensbridge houses, and she's always been a fighter. She's always been for us, with us, standing with us. And I am proud. She has a testimony on today, and I am proud to welcome to Live at 5, Assembly Member Kathy Nolan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bishop. I'm just so happy to be here. And I remember when Reverend Hassan was just a youngster starting out. So it's always so wonderful to be part of the community here. So thank you so much, and great to see you. And even virtually, you know, thankfully the technology, even during this awful 2 years of COVID, has enabled us to get together. But I'm really looking forward to getting back to seeing everybody at Center of Hope. And you know, just want to say thank you for the prayers. I think you know, and I'm happy to share today, I got very, very good news from my oncologist this week that my cancer is considered stable, and God has given me life. And it's been, it is a testimony to community prayer and great doctors at Memorial Sloan Kettering. But I'm very humbled by it and grateful to you, because I probably had 10 hospitalizations this last year, and every one of them, I got a text message from you, and I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate that.
Well, Kathy, I want to say to you, and I want to say publicly today that before this broadcast is over, hundreds and thousands of people would have watched it by the time next Sunday comes around. And I just want to say publicly that I don't know another legislator. I don't know another person that sits in the seat that you sit in that works harder, that fights more, and that is as tenacious and determined and resolute as you are and have always been. And, you know, people are hearing you now talk about the cancer, because some people are saying, oh, I didn't know that, because they don't, you know, this wasn't a public thing. You didn't tell a lot of people about it, you know, and I guess those that knew. But you came down. You're a 100% healthy woman. You know, you run just as fast as I run. But a couple of years ago, you were diagnosed with a rare cancer. Could you talk about what it was, and if you feel comfortable?
I just want to. I'd be happy to, because I think it shows the importance of going for screenings. So about 2 years ago, I had just a minor symptom by my stomach, really, very minor. But I did see a regular doctor once a year, and she is good. She's aggressive. She said, you have to, 99% it's nothing, but I want you to have a sonogram. Then, unfortunately, because of COVID, I had a scheduled date in March of 2020, and it was postponed. And it was postponed over and over again because of COVID delays. And then finally, we had a primary election. Thankfully, I was so grateful to Queensbridge and to everybody at Center of Hope, and we won by over 1,500 votes. It was a great victory. And I kept trying to get that appointment. And finally, in January of 2021, 10 months later, went for something that was supposed to be a minor sonogram, and it wasn't. And very quickly, we found out it was something called Perinatal Mesothelioma, which is a very rare cancer that probably comes from childhood exposure to asbestos. And, I can't go back in time, whether it was baby powder, whether it was where we lived in Ridgewood, some of the older buildings. just like children sometimes are exposed to lead paint, somewhere along the line, I may have been exposed to it. So it can be very deadly, and it's a challenge. But I was very fortunate that even with the delay in the testing, through a lot of prayers and family, and my sister being such a skilled nurse too, nurse practitioner, she knew how to get me right in there and find me a good doctor. And a very young woman doctor, by the way. At first, I even myself, feminist though I am, I was a little skeptical. She seems so young, but she's cutting edge. And, she put me through a lot with chemotherapy, and it's not easy. And I understand that more than ever, what it is to be in the hospital and feel, unfortunately, because of COVID, I could have no visitors, had to wear a mask even during surgeries, and wasn't easy. But, I'm very fortunate. And I think God has given me a little sparing of life, and I intend to enjoy. I've always enjoyed what I do and enjoy being with people, but I'm going to enjoy it even more, and grateful to God. Grateful to be here talking about it. It's 1 year almost to the day since the surgery and the chemo. I've had chemo for months, but I'm off it now for a while, and I'm grateful for that.
You make it sound so, oh, it's not a big deal, but it's really a big deal. It is really a big, big deal. And you went through a horrendous ordeal. But what kept you, every time I talk to you, every time I text with you, I was calling to encourage you, and you was encouraging me. And, what was it that gave you such resilience?
Well, thank you for asking me that. I really think it's, I'm very blessed to have a wonderful family, and even though my son is older now, he's 23, I felt very much that he and my husband need me. They want me in their lives, and they want me to keep going, and my sister needs me, and my sister-in-law. And I felt to our community, I would have the Zoom on for Albany, and the doctor would come in and they'd say, you have to shut that off. And I'd be like, just give me a minute. I got to finish this, And I feel too a great sense of mission. We were able this year to get hundreds of people's their unemployment insurance and things like that fixed. We helped coordinate mass distribution and things like that. So I think a sense of purpose in life and a great love of family has, and really so many prayers from we have so many different religious groups in our district. And I have to say, I felt so blessed. Even some of our newer groups, our Coptic church, our Nepalese, Tibetan Buddhist people, they all told me they were praying for me. I teared up about that, and of course your prayers, as I said, and your constant friendship, Bishop. I mean, we've known each other a really long time, and I think we've really come through a lot to generate real concrete things for Queensbridge and Long Island City. But you really went above and beyond for me, and I never forget that. I'll never forget that. And, I don't know what the future has in store, but I intend to play a big role in Urban Upbound and whatever else you need and whatever Center of Hope needs, because I do feel that to still be alive after they were at the beginning, pretty grim, there was talk of 12 weeks and this and that and the other thing.
Right.
And, to get through that and have the doctor literally say this week, I have nothing but good news. I couldn't believe it. So whatever time the good Lord gives me, I tend to make it work as best I can to helping people. But I think my family, my friends, and a great love of purpose. And I must say, you have to go into these things. I would tell anybody, you have to see it as something almost interesting and meet people. I met one of the women who took care of me when I was really weak and I couldn't even really wash myself, and her name was Veronica. And I said, oh, Veronica, like the Bible story. Oh, yes, she said. And we talked a little bit about Veronica's love of Jesus. So, wherever you go, you can make a friend. And she was so good to me, because you feel funny. You're weak. I was used to being a strong person. I'm sort of splayed on the bed. I can't even really clean myself. And God bless this woman, coming in and saying, no, we're going to do that. And you can sit up. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then we had a whole conversation about Veronica and her love of Jesus. So everywhere you go, you can connect with someone, based on love, really, and based on service. So, and a sense of mission. So I feel pretty good. And thanks everybody for the prayers.
Now, and I want to ask you this question because I can only imagine, what did it feel like when the doctor told you you only had 12 weeks to live?
Well, they made it clear they were going to try to fight that. They always give you an upbeat thing. But the only really tough moment was when I first had the surgery. They thought it might be a more typical cancer, maybe an ovarian or an intestinal. And they were pretty optimistic, the first group of doctors I saw. Then I'm laying there in February of last year, and the doctor comes in, and he's a lovely, lovely doctor, and the surgeon. And he says, Mrs. Nolan, we don't like to say this here at Memorial Sloan Kettering, but we don't know what you have. It's going to be very rare, and we have to send all kinds of special samples. And I was like, what are you talking about? This is Memorial Sloan Kettering. Of course you know. He said, no, we don't. It's very rare, but we're going to find out. Be patient with us. So that was a tough day, because you figure if they don't know, that's bad, But, I tried to keep my sense of humor and make some jokes with people and, just keep going, And then he came back. They called my husband and they explained that it might be from exposure to asbestos. And what can you say? I grew up a neighborhood kid, working class neighborhood kid. I don't know how I got it, but it seems like I have it. So I had to, and then they said, listen, this is sometimes very short, could move very quickly or not. So I just kept saying, okay, do what you need to do. And I did have all kinds of tubes in me for months and months and months. It wasn't, I used to tease my sister because you have to learn how to change all these things and all these things that you never thought you would do. And I never wanted to be a nurse, never. But I told my sister, I'm ready. I'm ready for a second career in nursing, because I had to learn all kinds of things. But that I would just say to anybody suffering from cancer, like, be open-minded to doing what they tell you. I went to floating hospital, I might add. I was very, very grateful to Dr. Andre. I did like a consult with her to learn a little bit. And, here's a beautiful young woman, doctor, just starting out her career. And she took the time at floating hospital to talk with me and explain a lot, as of course our wonderful Cynthia Davis did as well. So, go to the neighborhood and ask questions. Don't be afraid. I'm not saying I wasn't always, there were days I thought, what in heavens? But I never felt, and I'm still not feeling, I feel like it's all God's plan. Look, 65,000 New Yorkers are dead because of COVID. So who am I? Who am I to say? We never know the day or the hour. So it's in God's hands. I keep looking up. It's up to him and keep going forward. But I could never thank everybody enough, because when I felt weak, I would get a text from you or a prayer card from my dear friends, Eddie and Sharon Cadiz. Oh my God, every week, Sharon sent me a beautiful thought, scripture from Jesus, something from other faith traditions. She'd see it in the card store. So, people really went out of their way for me, and it lifted me up when I felt down. Even my husband too. People prayed for him, and my son felt so bad, and people were giving him the support, and I appreciate that.
Well, I know that the people here at the Center of Hope are really glad to see you, because for the last year, I've been amplifying my prayer list. You have been on the top of my list ever since I was informed by you what you were battling with. And the Center of Hope, they know, any Sunday I would say, listen, we're praying for Assemblymember Nolan. And, sometimes I just take you got to go back and look at some of these I take a whole segment. Talisha, you should get some of those clips and send them to Kathy so she can see them. And and I was really just believing God. I asked God, I said, God, because it was bad. The reports that you were telling me, and it was bad. And I said, God, I said, I cannot lose. I said, we cannot lose Kathy. I said, we cannot lose Kathy.
Well,
we cannot lose Kathy. And the Center of Hope, how I've been praying. And to see you here right now, I'm almost in tears right now. Yeah, because
I feel, I will tell you, I try to keep my sense of humor at all times and my gratitude to God. At one point, I kept having reactions to the chemotherapy, and a Southern doctor came in to see me, very, very lovely young doctor. And he said, Miss Nolan, we're going to write a book about you. And we're going to write a book called I've Had Every Symptom of Every Side Effect a person can have from chemotherapy, but I didn't lose all my hair. So, it was sort of an odd thing. You have to be able to sort of surrender yourself that way to God. And I laughed. He said, we don't even understand it. I had skin infections. I had intestinal infections. I had a lung infection. I had a headache. I had this, I had that. But for some reason, I did lose some of my hair, but some of it's come back. And it did go all gray. But it didn't come out the way so often it does. And of course, you have to get rid of your vanity too. As a woman, that's a hard thing. But I just accepted it. But he was funny. He said, Miss Nolan, he said, we're going to write a book. And he had that little Southern drawl. He said, we're going to write a book about you. So, but it was, so you had to laugh, you can only praise God. I see, well, just thank you for the healing. It's been a couple of months now and I'm getting stronger. I had, at the beginning, I had a walker and, again, we all have our pride, right? So I was at something with a walker. I didn't really like that, but I had to do it. I had to accept it, accept
Right.
it. Our older folk accept it. And you just keep going on, and I thank you for that. And for anybody else in the congregation who is battling cancer, do not give up hope. It has become a much more chronic disease. They're talking now, even if it was to come back more aggressively again, that maybe I'd be eligible for immunotherapy, which is, they don't have that for this cancer yet, but in a couple of years they will. So if I can make it, or maybe a second round of chemo, I not easy, but I'm going to keep going, and I always joke, I did lose a lot of weight. I've already gained a lot back, but, I had to accept that too. I love eating, but I couldn't eat. You had to go with it. I was in the hospital for over 2 weeks just on ice chips. And I had to say to them, finally, I can't, you got to let me drink a little water. But it's a long story, but they finally did. I got to have a quarter cup of water a day.
Wow.
Right?
A quarter cup of water.
I did, because I had the ice chips. Of course, they had intravenous, but I
Right.
had to taste it in my mouth. I had to feel that.
Right.
And
Right.
water plays such a role, as you all know, in baptism and in blessing. And I just felt I had to have that. But finally, the young doctor come in and they said, yes, and then I gradually had different tubes out and, but again, like I said, I just keep going. And I met people from every walk of life. As a matter of fact, this woman who took care of me helped me, stay clean. Veronica lives in Southeast Queens, but sure enough, she knew someone from Queensbridge, so,
Wow.
So it's a small world, and I had a lot of people, like I said, just being there for me. And they had to put that PP. I couldn't have, as I said, even the doctors, because I had some kind of weird infection, they had to put like that moon suit on every time they came in. And it was hard, it was hard, but I just, honestly kept talking to you and a few other people, and appreciated that so much. And I don't know, we're through it now. So we look forward and look up to God and hope that I can continue to serve. I in some way, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to run again, and we're going to have changes, Queensbridge. And I do feel very proud that we were able to convince Carl Hastie not to put Queensbridge, Ravenswood, and Astoria houses in a Manhattan district. Would not have liked that. It would have really been bad for us. So whatever happens, you're going to have a bigger role in Long Island City, Pastor. You're going to have a bigger, something bigger to say. We were able to elect Andres Stith, the first time we had an African-American state committeeman. I'm hoping we could do more of that. And, there'll be a Ridgewood Sunnyside thing down here, and there'll be more compact. And I think that's going to be for the best. But there'll be new people coming down the road. And I would encourage young people to kind of continue to think about politics as a career. We did have President Biden in the community, and how I wish we could have had more neighborhood people there. But it was really a tribute that Miss Jagan has done such a good job at 111, and all the work that you have done and that I have done. New cafeteria, new auditorium. I want to thank Mayor Adams, because Lorraine Grillo, first deputy mayor, was always in our corner. She got air conditioning at the school. She got better electrical. We couldn't get we got the air conditioning. They plugged it in and blew out the electrical circuits. I don't know if you remember that, but it was Lorraine that got us the better electricity and the better electrical hookup and the air conditioning. So the school, and of course the late Helen Marshall, God rest her soul, got us that little track. And then we got the library that the kids can use on 21st Street, that beautiful brand new building that our dear friend George Stamatiadis pushed the library to do. So it was an interfaith, interracial effort. But, our NAACP, Marion, and some of the older folk did grandma readings down there. So we made such a difference there, such a difference. And that's why it got picked, because the school is shining now and is our jewel. And so it made me feel good. I just wish we could have had more people there, but it was, when the president comes, I could see. I got about 2 seconds with him.
Yeah.
About 2 seconds.
So Kathy, what do you see? What do you see down the road? What do you see in your crystal ball for New York and the recovery and overcoming COVID? Do you have optimism? Do you Do you have any insight you can give your constituents about, how you see us coming out of this COVID environment, and what you and other legislators are doing now to just kind of shape and get us prepared for this new normal that we're in?
I think, Bishop, for you and I and people who've been doing this a long time, we have to recognize the importance of community work. And it's the biggest problem for other politicians that I deal with. They're not on the ground. They're not listening. Now, one of the things, I did not initially support Eric Adams. I wanted to see a woman, which I'm happy now we have a woman governor. I would like to see a woman mayor after 40 years in politics. But I cannot tell you how impressed I am with everything he's doing. And I know how close you are to him. And I'm in his corner. I know people will enjoy this, Mayor de Blasio, every mayor has good and bad, but he certainly was not an early bird. That's well documented, But Eric Adams gets up early. So we've been doing these 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. calls with elected officials. And, me, I'm older now, so I can get up at 8 a.m. No problem. Boop, I'm on the call. Hi, Mr. Mayor. But a lot of our younger colleagues, they were used to de Blasio at 11:30, So at the last call, when he started, there were only a few of us there. And we laughed with the older folk of us, because the younger ones were getting on late. Their shirt was askew. They had the coffee cup in their hand. So I would say, take after the mayor, get up early in the morning, get it done. He opened up, and I want to say this is an example of getting it done. We did not have enough testing sites. Boom, put one at Queens Plaza for us. Floating Hospital has been a vaccination site. I didn't have anything in Ridgewood at all. Boom, put it at the little clinic on Ondanok Avenue. In a week, he had that done. So he's listening, and I was so grateful because we've had situations.
You can get more done when you get up at 7 and start working, opposed to getting up, and you got to get up 11 and go to the gym first, then go to City Hall.
Yeah, I'm a Catholic, and I often say a rosary. I have for many years, not because of the cancer. I often say a rosary in the morning or at night, just a prayer to the Blessed Mother. I feel so lucky. I became, as many of you know, a mother late in life at 40, and my darling Nicholas, and I feel such gratitude to her always for giving me that blessing, So I just try to be grateful, but I had to laugh because, being older, I get up earlier too now, so I'm on the call, myself, just a handful of us with Adams. And then all the younger ones were coming on, as I said, but, we tease them about that. He, teased them, but he's really on the ball. So I'm all in, whatever he needs, I'm there. And I've made that clear. And I want to say, I reached out a little bit to Gregory Meeks, our county leader. He's going to have some decisions to make, and I hope that he will be supportive of us here in Western Queens. Carl Hasty could not have been nicer to me through all this. They've been able for me to vote electronically. I have not had to go to Albany. He did a special thing with the Republicans, and I appreciate that very much. I've been able to go on Zoom for months now, and I'm grateful to God for that. And but I expect now to go back to Albany in time for the budget and kind of finish up a little bit and get some, advocate for some money for programs. We were able to announce that $200,000 for Urban Upbound for the work you're doing to get kids to go to college. It's so key. When I see these nurses and everybody at a place like Sloan Kettering, the dietary people, the maintenance people, the pharmacy people, the tech people, the people who fix them, in the other room, the bed was broken. I saw them come in, they fixed it. I mean, there's so many good jobs in the healthcare field, but you have to have the education because you can't mess it up. You have very sick people, especially in these cancer hospitals. I had a woman in the room with me. I thought she was gone, but she wasn't. They were able to, I watched, and they had to come in, and it's a very, a much more integrated workforce than it used to be in healthcare. I had 2 wonderful, beautiful young African-American women doctors, just marvelous young women determined to be successful, and a lot of sacrifice, no question, a lot of sacrifice, but they're there, they're there, just like our Dr. Andre is there at Floating Hospital. So we're seeing in our own lives almost the opposite of Trump, the Obama effect of having people in positions of authority and moving forward. And I think though Trump tried to tamp that down, it cannot be stopped. It cannot be stopped. The march towards justice continues. Young people are going to make a difference, and hopefully I'll be able to help mentor and keep inspiring them to do that, and gratitude. As long as I'm here, as long as God sees fit to spare me, I'm in full time.
I need you to make a commitment to me. I'm so impressed what Amelia Adams did with 21 under 21 and getting all those women to run in the city council and tremendous. But I would love to see you, and hopefully we can create the space for it when you feel up to it, to really have a forum, and I can create the forum with young women and men that are interested in politics, but want to know what they should be doing maybe while they're in high school to kind of, see that pathway. I'd love to see you kind of put something together like that and have something regular so that we can start really farming leaders to go into politics.
Yes, I'd be happy to do that and work with everyone. And I think it's, you can, first of all, I still feel like I still grow and learn in politics all the time, but there's so many opportunities. It can be hard. There's no question about it. Very frustrating at times, but there's so many opportunities. And even something like whether it's the healthcare industry, politics is everywhere. The reimbursements for healthcare, the policies for healthcare, whether it's, things like a good job, unemployment insurance, there's so many things that impact people's lives. And our own LaGuardia Community College, our PS 111, taking Mayor Bloomberg to 111, and the cafeteria was so substandard. And he said to me, I don't understand what's happening. And then he said very sweetly, Bloomberg said, well, I went home to my mother for lunch. So I said, Mayor Bloomberg, nobody's gone home for lunch since about 1965. So, moms are working, things are different. And he did laugh. I said, moms are working. The children have lunch in the building. And he said, but this is very substandard. I said, exactly. It's from 1947. Nobody's changed anything. So he did help there. So sometimes it's about speaking truth to power and not being afraid, because maybe someone else would have just said nothing. But I said respectfully,
That's right.
I usually don't tell that story because I don't want to embarrass him. It was just a comment to me, but and I don't want anybody ripping him for that. He just genuinely said, "Oh, I went home for."
Right.
I sort of teased him about his age, which I don't know if he liked that either, Bloomberg. But I tried to make it a nice thing, and now we have that beautiful cafeteria there, top to bottom, which he did help us with. So you have to work with whoever the mayor is, And I think I just want to say, like, to young people, sometimes they don't see that. I don't like this one. I don't like that one. No, you have to work with them and try to educate them about our community, and then get the results.
That's right. I see Michelle Clark is a healthcare professional. She's giving a shout out for all the healthcare professionals online tonight. That's right. Well, listen, this has been tremendous. Kathy, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, and your leadership. It's and your testimony, your testimony of survival, your testimony of faith is just really something that has encouraged me. It has given me the kind of drive and determination that if Kathy can make it, facing what she's facing, the little minuscule things I'm facing is nothing. And I want to let you know, you're my hero, you're my heroine, you're, and I consider you as a part of my family. And I know the Center of Hope International considers you a part of their family as well. You are a part of the Center of Hope. You are the Center of Hope. And I know that you're Catholic, but guess what? I claim you as one of our members.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I feel it. I feel that spirit. And I it's emotional for me. So I thank you, Bishop. I thank you. And everyone here. Thank you. Thank you so much. So happy to be alive. Believe me, so happy to be alive.
Any parting words before I let you go?
Stay the course, because whatever God has in store, we're all afraid of death, but if we're believers, we know that when God calls us home, that's going to be a good thing, But I think for me, I'm hoping that God spares me a little longer on this earth to do good things for my family and my wonderful husband and son and my sister and brother and all my sisters and brothers here in Long Island City and Queensbridge as well. So whatever skills I have that I've learned, I hope God lets me use them for the community a little while longer. But I had to accept we don't get to choose, We don't know what illness we're going to have. I would just urge people to not neglect screenings, even with COVID. Go for those screenings. Maybe I should have pushed a little harder, when I had put it off. And don't do that. We have a place like Floating Hospital right nearby. You can get the test. Very professional, very good. Get the shots or whatever you need to get, whatever you need to do for your health, because God is not expecting us to just do it with only prayer. It has to be that we are believing in him enough to go for good health care too. So to the healthcare professionals, God bless you. As I say, I'll never forget that, Veronica. I never forget her. And, it was a low point for me. And there she was, so beautiful. So thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Bishop. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kathy.
See everybody in person soon, God willing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Well, you heard it right here at Live at 5. Again, this is a new platform for us, and we're building this, and we're believing God to enable us to bring you, good dialogue and content in a quick hour, so that it will bless you and give you some tools and resources to continue the journey. Yes, shout out to all of our men and women of service, healthcare professionals, hospital workers, police officers, firefighters, everyone, EMS, public safety, all of you that help serve the residents of New York, this great city. It was so great they had to name it twice, New York, New York. And so this has been tremendous. You heard it first right here at Live at 5. I'm excited. Is Pastor Hassan still with us? Pastor?
Bishop, thoroughly enjoyed the interview. The councilwoman, she's right. She's known me since I was about 10 or 11 years old, and I am in my late 40s. And so
wow,
I'm grateful. She has always been a sweetheart. She took good care of us years and years ago, helping us with programs. And even till today, she is a partner to you and to our community. And so we need people like this. And so thank you, Councilwoman, if you're still watching on Facebook, thank you. Thank you for your labors of love and the years of service. And I'm just glad to see that you're doing well, even to start this brand new year. Great interview, Bishop.
Awesome. Well, listen, I want to do something that's going to be kind of crazy, but this is the Great 8. We're in the Great 8 right now.
Yeah.
8 years before 2022. I'm sorry, 8 years before 2030.
Yes.
2022 being the beginning. We have 8 years to go. We're breaking it up into 4 quarters every 2 years, doing a massive audit and evaluation to make sure that we're steadily on track. But of course, we're micromanaging our time. And it may seem like we're moving slow, but we're not moving slow. Time is moving, brother. Okay. And I want everyone that's on here between YouTube and Facebook. There's about 60, 70 people that are watching us right now. I want every person for the Great 8 to sow a seed of $8. That's it. $8 for the next 8 years. For the Great 8, I want everyone watching to sow a seed right now of $8. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Sow the seed of 8. Pastor, you know what I did today?
What's that, Bishop?
In my service, glory, I felt the Spirit of the Lord, and I said, we are in a debt-free zone right now. Oof. And I said, how many people in here own homes and have mortgages? Stand up. They stood up. I said, sit down. I said, how many people want to own homes in here? A bunch of people stood up.
Yeah.
Sit down. I said, what you make happen for somebody else, God will make it happen for you. I told the people who wanted to own a home to go out and find the people who own homes and to give them $122 towards the principal on their mortgage.
Wow.
It was bananas. It was crazy. Because remember my message. It was unity, right? And so
Right.
it was about, listen, I was talking to somebody the other day, and I said to her, I said, who else do you talk to? Because there's no possible way that you could have a need as demonstrative as this and be in a community of believers and no one has enough spiritual discernment to identify your need. Woo, good God from Zion.
Wow, Bishop.
Do you hear me? Why am I part of the body if the body isn't a part of me?
Wow.
And that is the conundrum. And that is why it is there that God commands the blessing and life forevermore. I ministered to a woman, and the Spirit of the Lord said to me, give her $300 to put on the principal of her mortgage. You can't make this up.
Wow.
When I was walking out the church, I'm not talking about my honorarium and everything else that they gave me to come here. When I was walking out the church, you can't make this up.
Hey, thank you, Lord.
Somebody put $1,000 in my hand. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just a bunch of singles. I didn't know what it was. And I just took it like it was folded up, put it in my hand. I put it in my pocket. And I said, thank you so much. And she said, for your principal. And when I got back and had a chance to open up take the money out of my pocket, the person had given me
glory, 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 glory.
10 $100 bills. 10. Don't forget, don't worry. I got an armed security guy out here. Don't worry about it. I got Pastor Gillis people waiting for me to finish this live because we're going back to church. But listen, so you can't rob me. So what I'm trying to say is what you make it, oh my God. Something else happened too. I was ministering to a 10-year-old boy.
Mm-hmm.
His name was Vincent. I kept calling him Chris. I said, Chris, finally somebody said, Bishop, his name is Vincent. I said, oh, okay. So I said, who is here named Chris? Nobody said nothing. I said, okay, I'm thoroughly embarrassed now because I'm operating in the prophetic and there's no Chris. So we receiving the offering.
Mm-hmm.
The young man comes back around 10, 15 minutes later and says, Bishop, I forgot to tell you, my best friend's name is Chris.
Wow. Wow.
He's in my class.
Mm.
He said, a little short, Bishop. I said, why you didn't tell me that when I was asking for Chris?
Mm.
But he's 10. He's 10.
Yeah.
He didn't, he's 10. He had to think about it a while. Came back and said, my best friend's name is Chris. That's the kind of crazy anointing that was in the service on today. It was that kind of crazy anointing that was in service. And my whole point in telling you that story is that I gave someone $300 and the average person would have said, you done lost your mind. You should put that $300 on your own principal payment. But no, I gave that $300 to somebody else. And in less than 30 minutes,
my God,
someone put $1,000 in my hand and said, this is for your principal.
Thank you, Lord.
I want to encourage, thank you, Barbara, for your seed of 8. Thank you, Wendy, for your seed of 8. I need to see all these flooding. $8, that's every single person on this line watching.
Everybody.
Every person watching should be sowing a seed of 8. Just sow it. Thank you, Shirley Shay. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Ollie. Thank you, Joan. I'm sorry I missed some of the other ones. I'm sorry. Yvette, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Kathleen, thank you. Thank you. I need you, Pastor Hammond. Thank you. 8, 8, 8. Everyone watching, I need you to sow a seed of 8. Every person watching on today, I need you to sow a seed of 8. Thank you, Cora. Thank you. Thank you. The ways to sow are on the screen. If you want to text Kohai Nation, you could text us at 77977, Cash App, $ the Kohai Nation. Thank you, Lady Hamlin. Zelle kohaigives@gmail.com. Another special announcement I want to give you. Starting next week, we're going to be discontinuing text to give through PushPay. We tried it for a year, and there's not many people in our ecosystem that's using it, and the cost associated with it is not worth keeping it. So I want, and we've been doing some research, a lot of people are using Cash App, and a lot of people use Zelle. A lot of people use Zelle because it's connected right to their bank account. It's easy for them to track, their expenditures, just as it's easy to, have it tracked by an outside party. So we're going to be discontinuing this particular version of text to give, because I don't think that I need to pay you a percentage of the donation and then pay you a monthly fee, and then you go up on the monthly fee after my year contract. So any churches that's listening to me right now, PushPay is not really the right platform for the Center of Hope. It may be good for somebody else, but it's not. It's very expensive, very taxing, and the utilization rate is not high for us. So we're going to be eliminating that. All right. Well, it's 5:59, and the producers are there. There's a little red thing that they flash up for me when it's time for me to stop now. I don't know where they got this from, but anyway. Well, thank you, Talisha. So it's time to go. It's 5:59, but I love you guys. I love you guys, and I can't wait for tomorrow. I can't wait for this week. It's going to be a tremendous week. I can't wait for Wednesday.
Yes.
Wednesday. Every Wednesday, we have a Wednesday morning word in prayer. As soon as you get on at 6 a.m. in the morning, boom, I start with a fresh word. No repeats, fresh word. Most times, this is going to blow you away. Most times, God gives me the word when I sit down at the computer. It's unbelievable how this thing happens. And so this Wednesday, we'll be on. We open up the virtual sanctuary at 5 a.m. and we start the preaching at 6. And so if you want to be a part of my prayer services, our prayer services, rather, on Wednesday mornings, it starts officially at 6 a.m., but the doors of the virtual sanctuary open at 5 for those that want to be in early and meditate and pray and just be there for that period of time. And so on the screen, if you don't have the link, email us at kohaigives@gmail.com and say, please send me the link. I want to see 100 people. I want to see 100 people on. We got close, but no cigar yet. I want to see 100 people on our Zoom call this Wednesday morning. How is that going to happen? That means everyone watching must ask for that link, and everyone watching must invite somebody by sending them the link so they can be a part of this exclusive community. Pastor Hassan, give us the final remarks and encouragement and the benediction, and we're going to get ready to go.
Absolutely. So Center of Hope, still be praying for your city. I saw another officer was shot even on yesterday in lower Manhattan in the middle of the day. They said the 7th officer shot since the new year began. And so just unreal. So please be safe, whether you're using mass transit, public transportation, just be safe. Make sure that you're utilizing the 5-minute prayer. The 5-minute prayer is vital. I have been doing it. I've been telling folks that ain't even saved to lock in the 5-minute prayer. And so make sure that you're utilizing it 6 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., and then 6 p.m. at night. 1 minute. I'm telling you, it's powerful. Bishop has been sharing it for the last 2 during the pandemic when God gave it to him, and we just been putting it out to everybody. So tell your unsaved children about the 5-minute prayer per day. Give them the time, 6 a.m., 12 noon, 3 p.m., and then 6 p.m. Tell them about it, because I believe it's going to impact people, especially the non-believer. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what I feel. Put that out, and we're glad that God is still in the blessing business in spite of it all. And that's all I have, Bishop. You know, just glad to be a part.
Well, listen, thank you, Pastor. All right, Saints. Well, you heard it here, right here at Live at 5. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next Sunday at 5 o'clock. If it's Sunday and it's 5 p.m., it's Live at 5. God bless you, and we'll see you real soon.